Happy New Year, everybody, and thank you for coming to today's first. I'd like to move on to number 1 and receive any apologies for absence.
Had apologies this evening from councillors Mrs. Betterson, Widdowson and Hutchinson.
Thank you. Any others? No? Moving on to agenda item 2, members' interest. To receive any declaration of interest from members on the business to be transacted tonight. Take that as a no. Thank you. You might break a record this year at this pace. Right, agenda item number 3.
Don't bet on it.
Sorry. Minutes of Environment Committee meeting. To receive and confirm the minutes of the proceedings of the Environment Committee meeting held on the 14th of November 2024, pages 1640 to 1643 as a true and correct record. This is a decision item. Before I ask for a vote, I see there is a hand raised. Councillor Ives.
Yes, I feel I need to declare that I believe the minutes are incorrect concerning an issue that refers to me personally. Probably the easiest thing to say what it is I've sent the executive officer notes on it in correspondence. It's probably easiest if I read my last one, actually, which covers all the points, I think.
Can I just, before we do that, point out to yourself and everybody here that legislation does actually state that an individual cannot just ask me to amend the minutes, okay, because the minutes are my record. I then issue the draft, and then any amendments to that have to be brought to the forefront in a meeting.
Okay, so that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
Okay. I just think, I brought it to your attention originally because I thought it was a mistake, and you would see it was a mistake and change it. I know you've done that in the past, but it has been.
It still has to be mentioned at the meeting for it to be legal.
Okay, fine. Thank you for following up on this. However, I need to let you know that I will have to contest the minutes at this evening's meeting unless they have been amended. My reasons are as follows. As I said previously, I am happy to represent STC in the Parish and Town Climate Change Working Group if the committee resolves that to be. However, I did not attend the working group in that capacity in the 2 meetings that I have taken part in. I refer to an email from Tina Mackenzie Boyle dated the 24th of September 2023 stating that the group is open to all comers and volunteer groups. And I sent an attachment with that. This contradicts what you quoted in your email, and it seems that Tina forgot about this as I received no further information about meetings until September 2024. If during that time there were any changes in the terms of reference of the group, I was not made aware of them. It is not for me to decide to represent the council on this or any other body. I confirm that so far I was attending as a resident of Bracknell Forest and a member of the Bracknell Forest Climate Action Network. The membership section of the terms of reference state membership self-nominated representatives of relevant organisations and other interested parties. More importantly, in the Environment Committee meeting, I didn't mention anything about representing STC, or as far as I recorded, anybody else. Therefore, it should not be in the minutes, as it does not form part of a record of the meeting. In the meeting, I mentioned the group only because, like other groups that I take part in, it was relevant to potential projects that the Environment Committee may wish to consider supporting the Climate Change Working Party. However, although it was not mentioned in the minutes, I asked if Parish and Town Working Group was an outside body with representatives of STC. That was item 12. I was told that this was not the case, as nobody had been appointed by the committee to represent STC on that body. I think the distinction is important in the light of criticisms made about fellow councillors for allegedly not acting in accordance with STC policy. My participation in any Bracknell Forest Community Climate Action Working Group has not been to represent STC, but to promote the aims of that group, of that body. That's Community Climate Action. Consequently, I will not be held responsible for any unintended misrepresentation or omission of the position of STC today. However, if I were to be appointed as an STC representative, that would no longer be the case.
Councillor Allen, thank you, Councillor Ives. Before you finish, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, that covers it.
Thank you. Councillor
I would
Allen.
suggest that we just strike the words as a representative of STC, because I do not believe the Environment Committee has actually nominated anyone to represent STC on that body. Therefore, if you just remove those 5 words, it should be enough.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. However, if we refer back to the terms of reference and a very lengthy conversation that I did have with Tina Mackenzie Boyle, it says self-nominated representatives of relevant organisations and other interested parties. So representatives of organisations or other interested parties. And if a councillor goes to a parish and town liaison working group, they are representing Sandhurst Town Council. Now, we can wipe it out of the minutes because it hasn't been agreed by Environment, but if you attend a working group that is a parish and town council liaison and you are a councillor, you are representing Sandhurst Town Council.
So I didn't pick up on that subtlety in the fact that it is a parish and town. So
Yes, it is. It's
anyone
not.
attending
Yeah.
the meeting would be
Yes.
a councillor.
No, that's not the case. No, it is open to all comers. And it was quite clear when I first, which was back in 2023, when I was asked to be on it by some other people in BAFCAN, that's the charity that I'm a member of. It was certainly not that anyone was actually had to be on the council. I think probably most of them are on a council of one sort or another, but that wasn't the requirement. And certainly it was felt that being a member of BAFCAN was the committee, was the organisation that I was representing.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ives. Councillor Allen, I think what we can say, there is some confusion, I suppose, in the way you were representing yourself there. But I believe that you've also said that in the future, should the Environment Committee want you to represent the council, you are happy to do so and represent yourself as a councillor in that.
Indeed.
And up until now, you don't feel comfortable that that's what you have been going to the meetings as. So I'm happy for Councillor Allen's suggestion for us to remove that from the minutes, unless anybody else has anything otherwise to say. So,
Do we have a seconder?
I'll second it.
thank you. Show of hands, those in favour. Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, you may, Councillor Wilson, Mrs. Wilson.
Let's make this about me for a change.
Sure.
I like that, favourite topic. If I go to a meeting and it's a meeting that has, say I go to a borough council meeting, am I purely and simply because I am a councillor, am I at that meeting representing Sandhurst Town Council purely and simply because I have the title councillor and I am at another council meeting?
I think before I hand it over to Councillor Allen, my interpretation of any meeting that you attend, it's how you're invited. So if you were invited as a councillor,
Correct.
you are as a councillor.
Right, because I go with different hats to different
But
places.
it also depends on what the meeting is, because the one we're talking about is town and parish liaison.
Yeah, I mean.
So
that I
each one
understand.
has different,
But
yeah, so
if
it
I'm
depends what
going
the meeting
to-
is.
Not liaison, is it? There's no liaison. Town and-
Well, that's what I've been told by the chair.
Right,
But Diane, hopefully that answers your question.
I think so.
Councillor Allen, would you like to elaborate?
You can attend in whatever hats you want, but if you're nominated to attend
Right,
by
that I get.
Sandhurst Town Council,
But if I just
then-
trot along
but
with
if you
my
just
own
trot
volition-
along there, in this particular case, it's a strange one because it it seems to be called the Parish and Town Climate Change Working Group. So it implies that it's open, implies in the title that it's, because we also have a Parish and Town Liaison Group,
Yeah.
which is an entirely separate group, it sort of implies it's open to councillors. But it might, if that's not the case, I don't have an issue with that. But it's just the title gave that impression.
That's fine.
Thank you. I'm going to draw an end to it, but before we do,
Now, just the one, way before I became a councillor, I was on the patient group Sandhurst, which is now Ringmead. I still am on that patient group with Ringmead, but I don't represent the council.
You're not nominated by the
That's why I've not given you any feedback.
are you there as a
With
patient
other interests.
representative?
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Did we ask if anyone's against?
Yeah, did you take a vote?
We did take a vote, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it was unanimous.
If I'm not really here.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, that's
Yeah.
fine.
no.
Not the voting bench.
Hazel's not a member of this committee, so she's just here as an attendee this
It
evening.
has been concluded, councillor Ives, unless you have something else further to add.
Clear up. Is this a nomination? I said that we would be looking at some potential projects for the coming year and present a budget for those. I was also asked to give a list of all of the projects that we were considering from all of the climate action groups. What I have done, I have put together, I will forward that list to the secretary of this meeting to forward if you require.
Sorry, there is no secretary in this meeting.
Okay, so what is your?
Executive officer.
Okay. But you're taking minutes, okay. Yeah, fine. So what I will forward it to you then, as executive officer, the list. I can do that. It's quite a long list and it's got a lot of explanations on it. We went through that list, the list of 12, I think, items on there, and we categorised them as to whether there were ones that we would like to recommend to go forward to this meeting, whether there were ones that we should continue to investigate them, and the other categories. I've forgotten now. There was one that's
No. Was the
Not
last
that.
category.
no was the last category, drop it completely. Oh, and the third category was to defer it
For a year.
for a year, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. So, let me find them again. Right. Okay, fine. So the group, do you want to know the whole of them? I can go through the whole list if you wish. Yeah. The first item was an event to coincide with Big Green Week in May, oh, it's actually June 2025. This was one that's been put forward by Bracknell Forest Council. At the moment, that is not very well developed, but we wouldn't like to take part in that. It was only to provide a stand at the various ones elsewhere. Don't think it would involve anything like the Go Green event that we had here last year. But we'd like to be involved in that and to provide a stand.
What would the stand involve?
Well, it would be some of the stuff that we had from the one here, but basically highlighting actions that we're doing in Sandhurst, that are specific Sandhurst items, and it would involve items from the rest of this list that we are carrying forward. But as I say, that's a little bit undefined at the moment because the town, as parish and town working group, hasn't actually come up with a very solid idea what it's going to be. There is a meeting next week, which I will attend, and I'll find out a bit more about that. So that was number one. We want to go. We'd like to go ahead with that one. Number two was.
Can I just ask, are you actually asking for decisions to be made on all of these this evening? Because obviously
No,
you,
we've shortlisted them basically, so the ones that we plan to go ahead with, I'd like a decision on those, but the rest of them, the ones that we've decided that should be deferred or dropped, obviously no decision to be made, unless anyone wants to come back from the list I've given and want to revisit those ones, which,
Probably just the ones you've agreed on.
yeah, I think it'd be too long.
Yeah, no, I think,
Take too long to go through them all, but I'll certainly make them available if anybody.
so what's the shortlist then, councillor?
Okay, the second one was a Go Green event, such as we did last year. So basically the same thing, only better publicised and better planned and with better communication. So let's moving down. I won't go through the ones that we've got in soon, as that seems to be. Then there was education and public engagement. We have some proposals.
What number was that?
That was number 10 on our list. So the Go Green event actually falls into that as well, but we had other suggestions. For instance, talks at schools, school newsletter, material for assembly. Hazel's prepared was in the process of updating a game that we used that could be given to schools. There was a competition.
Yeah, we said about a competition between the schools, the 5 primary schools with prizes for each sort of like year 5 and 6, year 3 and 4, years 1 and 2. And an overall prize for the top, what we were going to say is the top school. So, you know, a lot of education involvement in in raising awareness about climate change, whether we link that to the Big Green Week and then display them at our Go Green event.
So, that's when I left out the minutes that I circulated this up. That's why I forgot about it. I'll have to add that in. So, we did draw up a budget for this. Hazel very kindly helped. Well, actually did it, didn't it? Pretty much. We just noted it down as what we agreed. And the total, I believe, came to £2,085, is that?
Yeah, 2084.
2084, was it?
Yes,
Yes, 2084. Yes, I've added it up. Yeah.
Can I just ask, is that for the educational project and the Go Green event?
Yes, it's for the lot. There was I can give you the breakdown if you wish.
No, not.
what we need to do tonight though, I'll just go back to the point I made earlier, is to actually have proposals for each of these and for the budget tonight included in 25-26 budget. So to have a budget for something, you have to have that event approved first. So you will need to have each of these approved this evening. Otherwise we can't approve a budget for it.
Okay, fine. We can break
Councillor Allen.
Yeah. So the way it's broken down there, I'm not sure you could actually break them down easily because one, for example, we've got £324 for hall hire. Well, that probably covers several events. So
I think in this case it only covers the one, doesn't it? Yeah.
And whole hire for this building,
Yeah.
because there wouldn't be a cost.
Okay, well, we were told last year about it have to be a break even, so.
Well, last year you were doing a cost neutral, and obviously there is a cost because to the council because we are not hiring out the hall to someone else, so we lose the money. But it wasn't a physical amount that we charged you. And if it's a Sandhurst Town Council event, we wouldn't charge for hall
Well, that
hire.
brings the budget down to 1768.
Okay.
That would be including the salary of the overtime for the caretaker, like we did last time.
No, because it depends how you do it and what your proposal is, because last time it was completely councillor led and supposed to be cost neutral. So it depends what conditions and what your actual proposal looks like as to how it's agreed.
But we'd like the support of the office for printing, obviously advertising and marketing and communications where we felt last year that we needed more marketing to raise awareness much more, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So, working on the budget, the Big Green Week and the Go Green event, some of those things will be used on both of those occasions.
What's the difference between Big Green Week and the Go Green event?
The Big Green Week is it's a national event,
Right.
and it's usually held in May, but next year it's going to be held between the 7th and 15th of June.
Next year.
This year. But we would like our Go Green event to be kept to September, which gives us more time for planning and obviously to make it a much bigger event. So we're going to use the Big Green Week to, if you like, launch our event, the Go Green event, and to launch the things in the schools, schools competition, raise awareness in the schools. But then some of those materials and the artwork that the schools have done, whatever, can be on display at the Go Green event in September. Yeah.
Yes.
See how
Good
we're
idea.
linking the two together.
No, I think that's a good idea, because that would drag the parents to the Green event.
Yeah.
And then you could sell the stalls for more money.
Councillor Allen.
Given the amount of money they're asking for, can we just say it's £2,000 and that's it? And just
Thank you.
allocate £2,000 to green events
Yeah, no,
over the year.
Councillor Allen, you're the guy that knows the numbers. So, Councillor Ives, I believe that seems like a
Can
a very
in that case,
reasonable-
Can I propose that?
Please do.
So when we come to the budget review, we will add £2,000 into it to cover green events for 2025.
I think it's a very sensible proposal.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I show a hand? Those in favour? Everybody. Thank you very much. Councillor Ives, that's 2 out of 2 for you so far.
Could I make a suggestion?
Please do.
I think the Go Green event is actually quite good, because I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed going on the stalls. I found it quite useful. And actually, if you get more people here and more stalls, you might actually find that not only can be cost neutral, you might actually,
Turn a profit.
Yeah.
if we're allowed to turn a profit.
Well, it could fund the
Yes,
following
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Let's look at it like that.
Thank you.
There's only one other thing from that working group was the terms of reference. The executive officer pointed out to me that under the terms of reference, the chair of the environment should be a member of the working group. And certainly last year, the chair was
Me?
that was Sheila, was it right?
It was the previous.
Previous
She
year.
declined.
She
Sorry.
declined, so
Yeah.
Ray-
So Ray Mossam.
Yes.
Got it.
so,
Yeah,
this year,
and then the
Carl
committee
was-
resolved that it should be someone who it should be the chair, because I believe you did join. You are a member, but I don't know if you've
No,
gone to.
I'm not a member.
not down on the minutes as being a member anyway. However, we do have Michael Grossard, who is the deputy chair,
Mhm.
and we would like to propose that the terms of reference could be amended to make it either the chair or the deputy chair.
That would need to go to strategy and policy, but that can certainly, you can take a recommendation. So if you wanted to take a vote on it for a recommendation from this committee to S&P, that's absolutely fine.
Councillor Ives, are you proposing
I'd
that?
like to propose that.
So there's a recommendation, and of course you can, Councillor Butcher. Councillor Butcher would like to second that. And Councillor Brossard,
Yes,
how do you feel about that?
Yeah,
first
I
of all?
concur that. I'm happy to
Okay,
vote in
no.
favour of
Yeah,
that.
there you go. Can I show hands of those in favour?
Very supportive.
Thank you. That's everybody.
Like unanimous now.
Yes. Thank you, Councillor
I'm just a
Edwards.
bit confused, because I thought in the working groups you voted for the chair.
Except
Yeah.
where there are certain groups where it's actually in the terms of reference of the group that a specific person has to be the chair. And that's what used to happen until Sheila took over, in which case she said, I don't want to be on it. And I was thinking, okay.
I
So
think
we actually changed the terms of reference.
Yeah, I think it leaves the options open for the chair or the
Yes.
vice chair, whichever perhaps is most interesting.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but just to clarify, that doesn't mean that they have to be the chair of the working group for the terms of reference for this committee. Some, as Councillor Allen has said, do determine that, but this just determines that they are part of the committee.
They don't
Yeah.
have to chair it.
Yeah.
Thank you. That concludes.
Before we move on, we need to nominate someone to be on this working group that we've been discussing in the minutes because there's a meeting next week.
Who needs to be nominated onto the
Who
climate change
it's
group?
going to be, whether it's going to be Councillor Ives
For the what group, sorry?
that we were talking about in the minutes section.
Climate change working group.
Okay, so we use this option now. Thank you.
Yes.
So we're going to use this opportunity to nominate somebody that can represent Sandhurst Town Council at the meetings Councillor Ives has been attending. Councillor Ives, as you have currently attended previously, would you consider attending in the councillor's role? If not, I'm open for nominations.
I am prepared to fulfill that role. I'll stand for that role.
Okay. Do we need a vote for this?
Yes, and a seconder.
Okay.
And you need to ask if anyone else would like to be
Thank you.
considered.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Okay, Councillor, do we have any other nominations? Councillor Brossard?
In what capacity?
To take the role.
Yes, yes.
You would like to nominate
What, you
yourself?
want to nominate
No, I'm nominating Councillor Ives. No.
There's no other nomination.
if you like, I'll nominate.
There we go. We have a nominator and a
Right,
seconder.
you've nominated
I've nominated.
and Mike seconded.
Can I please have, can we vote for Councillor Ives? I believe you can.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Speech of acceptance.
Thank you. And moving on to agenda item 5, hanging baskets and planters. And I think this will be your moment.
Yes, it will, absolutely. My 5 minutes of fame. There are 5 elements to this presentation, and I'll go through them very briefly. You might remember that back in November, I updated you on an exchange of emails that I had with a person called Osmond Ferreira, who looks after street lighting. And in fact, John may know him, I think, through the very, very impressive Christmas decorations that we had, the illuminations. He indicated that we would not be allowed to use the hanging baskets, the double hanging baskets, on the street lamps, simply because they were not robust enough. His solution was for removal of those street lamps and an alternative heavy-duty one put in its place at our cost. That was not acceptable, clearly. So I then went back to him because we have got in central Sandhurst and also in College Town, we've got these very impressive metal posts. And I'm ever so grateful that Bracknell Forest Council didn't take an angle grinder and literally cut them off at the base, but instead left them in situ. They are very robust and they're very substantial. So I wrote him in November, Osmond in November, saying, can we use these? Because obviously they're Bracknell Forest Council property and effectively they're on their land, so to speak, or highways land. So I said, would it be acceptable for us to suspend the double hanging baskets from there? His answer, he didn't reply, so I went back to him earlier this week. He's now told me that, in fact, it needs to be referred to a lady called Jennifer Coupland, who I believe, from my memory, is Landscape and Countryside Manager. So I think ultimately I've emailed Jennifer sending her the photographs, saying what we are proposing in terms of using these 6 metal posts in central Sandhurst and the 5 that are in College Town. I've also asked her for permission to use an area of grass at the Mill Shopping Parade where we would display, because we haven't got lampposts, we've got lampposts, but they're not suitable. We will be using that type of crowthorn one that you've seen before, which I think are actually quite attractive. So there is a grassed area. What has happened, I've written before Christmas to the manager of the Owlsmoor group practice, asking if they would like that to be outside the group practice on Bracknell Forest Council grassed area. I've not had a reply. I'm not going to chase them up on that. My view is that if they don't take advantage of this opportunity, I would have said offer it to the Owlsmoor Community Centre with a building next door, because I found them very supportive when we had our neighbourhood plan meeting. They were very helpful, very obliging. They gave the room to us as a concessionary figure. And if the practice don't take advantage, I will offer it instead to,
It is the doctors. You'll have to wait 3 months to get an appointment anyway.
well, not according to Facebook recently. There've been some very good, actually, there've been some very good
Can I
mentions
suggest
about.
that the community centre bit of patch of ground
Yeah.
is a more appropriate place for the planter than anything near the surgery anyway, because it's nearer to the shops
Yeah.
and therefore will be seen by
At
more
I
people.
was mainly thinking about the amount of footfall. I think there's probably more people going into the surgery than
No, there's
probably
not.
into
Michael, have
the.
you been there recently? It's like a bloody ghost town.
It is. There's nobody there.
By the
Nobody
community
there.
centre,
Nobody there.
it would be on
Well,
VFBC land.
in that case,
Currently-
it's a blessing in disguise. They haven't responded.
Yeah.
I'll leave it another couple of weeks, and then I'll go to, I think it's Joyce, who is the manager of the of the Ellesmere Community Centre.
She's the manager, but you can send it to the chair.
She's,
It's chair at Ellesmere Community Centre, and it's Melissa Timms.
well, we dealt with her with regard to the neighbourhood plan, so I'll be doing that. So I'm waiting, obviously, for Jennifer to come back to me to confirm the location for the Mill Shopping Parade grassed area, where that will be on display, and also the one, as I said, up in Owlsmore. So that covers that. Now, the challenge that I've had. Oh,
The
yes.
one up in Oldsmore, won't that be on VFBC land? And we need their permission to put it up,
That's what he
to
said.
locate it?
You're talking about Blackpool Forest Council.
No, yeah. The
Yeah,
one,
that's what he said.
all right,
Well, it is their land.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And he is talking to the right person.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
right.
So
So-
Jennifer
I missed the
Coupland is
first
going
Was
to
confused.
Yeah,
look into
sorry.
that for us.
Apologise.
Right. The challenge that I've had is in terms of actually getting 3 quotations, as we discussed last time. It's very, very clear that this is a niche activity in that you're looking for supply, installation, and maintenance. I went through Google and I got half a dozen companies who I contacted by email saying, would you be interested in providing a quote? I had one reply, which said no. I then sent the email to the 5 companies who hadn't replied, and I then got a second reply from another company saying that because they're based in Cheshire, it's not attractive to them. So, but it's been, you go on Google and you've got B&Q, you've got Homebase, you've got Range, all these people who actually will supply hanging baskets, either as a kit or as a completely assembled one. What you do not have is a company who will actually supply, install on these lampposts, install that and maintain them. And I think the critical thing is the maintenance part of it. And I am at this stage, I have to say, indebted, as Andrew's aware, to Melanie Seville of the Clerk at Crowthorne Parish Council, who told me, they gave me the details of a company who are called Window Flowers, who had provided the quotation that was the basis on which we did the budget on a previous occasion. Now, then, it's worth mentioning that Window Flowers maintain the floral displays at Crowthorne, Camberley, Church Crookham, Yateley and Hook. So they are a local company and they come highly recommended. The difficulty, quite simply, is in trying to achieve 3 quotations. Now, and I will read this out because it is quite complex, but what Melanie has supplied to me is a document called procurement, number 5. Number 5.12, the requirement to obtain competitive prices in these regulations need not apply to contracts that relate to items 1 to 4 below. Number 4, goods or services that are only available from one supplier. And that effectively is the one that we had got the quotation from. I do believe that there is the basis that we can, and it would fall to me, to put forward a justification why we would apply the procurement paragraph, which allows us to only seek one supplier for the activity of the supply, installation and maintenance of the hanging baskets and the tower flowers throughout Sandhurst. But that's something that would be a motion, wouldn't it?
No, that is in financial regs, so that is absolutely allowed. Yeah.
I thought it was very helpful because I was not aware of that, and
Haven't read your financial regulations, Councillor
I
Brosnan.
must brush up on that. Sorry. Yes, then I go on to University Challenge. So what we've got at the moment is that I think that would be the way forward because it is frankly it's very, very difficult to find a company because a lot of companies said we will supply them, we'll supply the hanging basket, but then will they install them? No. Will they maintain them? No. And it's the maintenance part of it that I think is critical. When you look at how superb they were, when Bracknell managed their facility, they had the water bowser, they watered them, and I'm happy that when you look, and that was taken probably a couple of months ago, and Crowthorne, and they do look very, very healthy. And I think the attraction for this company that we would, if it's agreed, we would go with Window Flowers, is that they also undertake the same role in places like Camberley, for instance, Kirkcookham, Hook, Yateley, etc. It's attractive for them geographically to add Sandhurst to their portfolio for that activity.
It's on their route.
So that would be the proposal. Now, then, I do need to, at this stage, express an apology. Because what had happened in the calculations that I'd done and the budget setting of £4,000 that was put forward as a motion and was agreed unanimously at our last meeting, thanks to Ray identifying that there are actually another 3 metal posts outside Aldi. So those had not been taken into account. So what it means, it increases the cost by another £600. So I was going to ask, with your permission, and this will be, I presume, a motion, that we increase the budget from £4,000 to £5,000 to take account those 3 additional metal posts outside Aldi, for which I apologise, an oversight on my part, but thanks to Ray bringing it to my attention, they are there, and I can confirm they are in situ.
Seconded.
So that's the situation. We are making good progress. Once Jennifer Copeland will come back to me and confirm, yes, we can use those metal posts. Yes, we can designate the land that I've identified to her for these, one in Little Sandhurst by the Mill Shopping Parade and one probably potentially outside the community centre up in Owlsmore. Then we will then be able to make progress.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Russell.
How long will the flowers last for the year?
May until September.
6 months.
I think that is brilliant bang for buck, even with the increase of 600 quid.
Sorry?
I think that's great bang for buck.
He agrees.
I think that's
Just say thank you, Michael.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, but, there has been a lot of work done on this. You know, it's not one of those things that you can just sort of go through yellow pages or something like that. It has been very, very challenging finding a company. And as I said, the fact that Window Flowers come highly recommended by Crowthorne and by the other parishes, I think augurs well for us to have a very visible double floral hanging basket display of these metal posts. So I will be progressing it.
Thank you. Councillor Allen, I'll come to you in a minute. Before we do vote, would anybody have anything else to add?
Can I just add that this isn't allowed to be voted on in this agenda item, but if you look at number 6, which is a budget review, that is where the budget will be
That's
voted
fine,
on.
thank you. Is that what you were going to say, Councillor Allen?
Not quite. I was going to say I seconded the fact that it needs to be increased to £5,000.
Sure.
If you want to defer it to the budget item, that's fine.
That's fine. So
Thank you for that.
what we will do,
So did we defer the other one to the budget item? Because we put two grand in for green events, didn't we? When we voted on that, and the climate change thing.
That's because the climate change agenda item allows it,
Oh, okay.
whereas this one is just purely around regarding the land ownership and
Okay.
locations.
Thank you.
thank you. On that note, we will defer that to agenda item 6. Would anybody else like to add anything further before that is concluded? No? Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 6, the budget review, to confirm the Environment Committee's budget request for 2025-2026. We've just had 2 in the meeting, and that is Annex 1. So, can we take a vote now for?
So does that mean 2231 climate change gets a budget of 2,000 or an increased budget of 2,000?
No,
A budget,
Actual
yeah.
budget of 2,000.
Yeah.
And where was the flowers?
It's not on there because it will be a new item. So this
I
is
thought we'd already agreed 4 grand though.
in next year's budget. This is last year's. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Any further comments?
We need a
Observations?
No,
proposal.
I'm not.
Okay.
Why? You said this is this year's. Until when?
31st
when
of
to when?
March, April to March
Yeah, which year?
this
Oh,
year.
oh,
So it
oh,
ends
25.
24-25. And the budget then will be 25-26.
Yeah, that I get. So why does this 500 change to 2,000 in the year to March 31st, 25?
No, it will change as of the 1st of
In the new
April.
one?
Yeah.
Yes. So,
I'm glad you know what's
Right.
going on.
so presumably, you've got Christmas lights event where you had an extra 20 grand from last year. That's going, isn't it? So we
Yes.
need to reset these numbers.
Yes.
So we're not using the same numbers as last year. So it's a case of going item by item and checking
Thank you, Councillor Allen.
whether the number is correct.
Okay.
So I'm guessing seat maintenance, for example, is fine, but Christmas lights event is down to a more manageable figure because you'll be taking something like 25 grand.
It was 25, yes.
So it would then return to about 4 grand.
Okay.
And that manages the putting up of the lights and stuff like that, and
That's right.
taking down,
All the expenses for the event.
and all the
Yeah.
expenses for the event. So
Yeah.
4 grand's enough for that, is it?
Well, depending on inflation, I'll have to look and see what we've actually budgeted for in that.
4 grand,
Yes, it would be about
is still
Is it right,
about
right?
400 quid more, 10% more. than it is this
2860.
year.
So it was 4620, wasn't it, before?
Was it?
Because we added 25 to it.
Oh, right, okay. Because it says 286.
Oh, sorry, 3620.
3620.
Yeah.
I'm saying 4 grand.
Yeah. Yeah, 4 is plenty example for
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Are we going to vote for each individual
No.
item or should we just go through them? Yeah, okay.
Go through each one and then just vote at the end for the new figures. Yeah.
May I just add, Councillor Allen, with your knowledge of budgets and strategy and policy, would you please proceed?
Okay, right. Vandalism, I don't think we need to change. Dog family, do you actually do anything with that at all?
That's just if we want to replace posters or if this committee decide they want to do some sort of initiative around dog fouling.
We haven't done one for several years now.
No.
I think we'll take it out.
Unless there's a government initiative, maybe.
I don't know whether the thing I had correspondence with Andrew about on the bin, was that relevant to this? So there was any budget involved in it, so it was to, with the new labels going on to bins to actually increase awareness of the use of bins. So there is greater use of those bins for dog food, basically, which is a good thing because the cars aren't getting fouled to the same extent they were. I think it's becoming more culturally the thing to do. It does mean the bins get filled up quicker. So
Can I just add, Councillor Allen, some of the bins, is this for the maintenance of the dog poo bins as well?
have we got
We do have dog poo bins.
We don't have specific.
It's not the maintenance of the bins themselves.
No, we don't have specific dog poo bins that we provide in the town because any on the park is leisure.
Okay,
Environments are bins in the town
okay,
and we don't provide solely
Got
dog
it.
poo
Thank you.
bins.
So literally this was, I know that some years ago we had a campaign about poof areas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And stuck them on all the bins.
Yeah.
got it.
But we haven't done that sort of campaign for a number of years now. So I'm debating as to whether we actually need something in there because the bins actually are maintained through leisure, so themselves.
Are the STC green bins, are they the ones that are the normal, not the dog food bins, the actual litter bins that are around the place?
The ones on the park are STC and the ones in the town that obviously we talk about that we provide are come under the environment bracket. So bins out there that STC provide environment, bins on the park is
Yes.
leisure.
That's 2230 town bins. That's the one.
Town bins, yeah.
Yeah, that's further down.
They have a budget of 2,400 because that covers the collection.
I've noticed that they are getting filled more quickly and it's mostly local now, so
But-
possibly.
But that's not part of the dog fouling item, that's part of the town bins
Yeah,
item.
fine, okay.
Does anyone else have any suggestions?
Do we keep dog
Councillor,
fouling in or out?
yes, Councillor Allen thinks that maybe we should remove
I
it.
think it should stay in, but with a zero going forward, and then maybe remove it next year. Unless, I mean, the other thing that we did think about, no, we didn't think about it, but the other thing that I now think is that maybe it comes under climate change group, possibly. I'm not sure about that though.
Is that because
No,
of the
I don't think
gas?
dog fouling
No.
comes under climate change at all.
No.
Fine, in that case, cross the line then.
Okay.
Yeah,
Brilliant, yeah.
we have to draw zero to that?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the next one.
Clean team expenses will leave in, 200, clean team. Does it need to increase at all due to the change in?
No, because Wendy reduced her hours after this budget was set, so she works less hours now. So there's still scope in that budget, I believe. But
500 will be
yeah.
enough.
we can look at the recommendations that our accountant has done for the national insurance. But from memory, I don't believe there was much tweaking of that one. Obviously, the full budget with all the tweaks will be presented to strategy and policy.
Yeah, because the national insurance will be affected because, of course, it comes down from everyone from 9,500 to 5,000. So
Yeah.
everyone's national insurance
Yes.
will be going up. Okay. Okay. Bulbs, is that enough? 100 quid? Do we know?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave it 100 quid. War memorial maintenance.
What about remember?
Remembrance
Oh, sorry, I
service.
missed it, sorry. Yeah. Remembrance service, is that enough for that, or do you want to increase it to £2
That's
grand?
fine.
Okay. Remembrance book, I don't think we've used that for a number of years, have we?
No,
Well,
there
we'll
was
leave it
talk
then.
many years ago of having
Okay.
some calligraphy done in the book. And if ever it was the pages were damaged, I think that's why it was set.
Does it accumulate?
No.
Okay. We'll just roll it over then. War memorial maintenance. It's never enough because when people
Do damage.
Yeah,
do damage
that's
it, it costs way
Yeah.
more than 250 quid.
Yeah, well, this is just really for the maintenance for the annual clean, which
Right,
is ample for. Yeah.
Enough for the annual clean?
Yeah.
Okay. Brick bins. Still got the same number of brick bins. Bus shelters. Not for a long time, have they?
No,
So,
you just never know with that.
yeah, okay.
Hmm.
Depends on the vandalism, really.
Yes. Yeah.
Just leave that in. Town bins will leave as is. Climate change, we're going to change to £2 grand. LED lights, what the hell's that?
That came out. That was the project that we did for putting them all through the building.
Oh, right.
But when you zero it, it stays in for 1 year and
Right,
then
got it.
disappears. So that will
So-
completely fall off.
Oh, so that's going to fall off anyway.
Would
Yeah.
it then come under maintenance? If one goes?
Yes. Yeah. Just general maintenance. Yeah.
Then the general
Yes.
maintenance of it.
Yeah.
So it does, I was thinking really, it doesn't need to go out and then come back in again
No.
because it's different
Yeah.
cottage.
Right, so we also have the reserves anyway, so we have remembrance but reserves of 100. So I suggest we just leave the reserves as they are. I'm guessing that previously we've been adding the 500 quid into the dog fouling reserve and to got to the point of 5,500 and it just sort of stopped.
It's never been rolled over in my time here. Whether that happened
It
before,
might have
I
been
don't
happening before
know.
your time,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Just get rid of that.
What, and just put it into general reserves?
Yeah.
I don't see the point of keeping it personally.
Yeah, just
No.
drop the other one. So,
We'll leave the other reserves as is. And so we wanted to add another line, which was £5 grand for the town flowers.
There you go, just go from the dog sound.
Yeah.
Sounds better.
The manure from the dog fouling is now paid.
Well, they both smell, but one's sweet, the other one not so sweet.
Okay, that's proposed is to those various small changes we have made, to take the budget forward as is.
Any further comments? I would like to second Councillor Allen's proposal.
Oh, second.
No, it's what it is.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Can I have a show of hands for those in favour? Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Councillor Allen, for that. Agenda item 7, outside bodies reports. I will start from the left and go around the table.
Well, we're both, as you know, we're both from the Ellsmore community, me as the borough and Brett Forward as the town. They've now got a food bank there, which is open on Wednesdays. So if anybody wants to donate anything.
Okay. Councillor Allen?
Haven't been a meeting of mine since the last one, so.
Sure.
Me and Councillor Ives went to the Sandhurst Town Museum. Is that for this committee? That's not leisure, is it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, they're great. They've got loads of stuff, loads of historical stuff. They've done loads of genealogy on like the First World War and Second World War people. They need to get it online because they keep doing little displays here, but I just don't think people see them, and I think people would love it actually. So we encouraged them to create a Facebook page, didn't we? Which I'm going to set up for them because they weren't too sure about how to do it. And then they're going to take it over and they're going to put up their genealogy and all their bits of maps of Sandhurst and stuff like that onto that page. And I reckon that could be quite popular.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah. The other thing is not going to act straight away. They've got a catalogue of what they've got in there. It's in a book. So basically, I've offered to go down there with one rather than we'll go through it and catalogue it because there is the possibility of being able to get some of this stuff put into the Royal Berkshire Archive. At the moment, until I've got it listed, we don't know if there's any costs to doing that or whatever. Because it would actually improve the use of it. It would preserve stuff because it's kept in properly controlled environmental conditions. And also, if they digitise some of it, it would be much more readily available to residents to actually look at it and find stuff for their own research or interest. So I think that would be an enhancement to the museum if that could be done. But there's a lot of research to be done, and I'm going to be helping them with it. It's going to be a year or so before we get anything really very confident about moving forward.
Thank you.
The Facebook page.
Yeah, that's
starting one of that. They push a lot of big data to be able to tap into as well.
Thank you.
I've not heard anything about Wellington College,
There's nothing to feed back there.
so.
Thank you.
Nothing.
Councillor Butcher?
Nothing.
Nothing, Chairman.
No?
Can I-
ask on this subject, the next meeting, would you require a report from me from the parish and town climate change group at the next?
If you do attend between now and then, I would,
However, that will come under the climate change.
yeah,
anyway.
it would be under the
Yeah.
committees. It would be.
I have just got a quick note from Councillor Hutchinson, who is just wanting to let you all know that there is a meeting for the external stakeholders for Broadmoor coming up. So there's been no news so far, but there's one coming up. I think it's the 20th of this month.
I just remembered something. Just going to interject. Just going to say that the Christmas lights look fantastic over Christmas. It was a real,
Really good.
yeah, it was a great decision to go ahead with
Great
that. So,
feedback from the
yeah.
public.
Impressive.
so well done. Good
They
pursuit.
could have planned that taking them down a bit better because they kept blocking Yorktown Road, didn't they?
I missed
They
that.
couldn't
bit,
get past.
really.
The traffic both ways.
Yeah. It did bring a lot of joy to some of the
Oh,
children
brilliant.
and people within the
Thing,
town.
but
So,
just saying, plan that taking them down a bit better.
okay.
Doing it at peak time, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. People are coming from school and work and stuff like that.
Moving on to agenda item 8, footpaths or footpaths, as they say down south. Any updates?
Well, I mean, I've done mine and I did a lot of cutting because there was a lot of rain this year. I haven't been recently, but it seemed to be okay.
Thank you, Councillor D'Souza. Councillor Ives.
You know, the one that I'm nominated for is Cockadoggy to Silver Ridge to the Bracknell Council to clear some complaints from residents about that. And they did so. So I'm very pleased about that.
Excellent.
There's got one other comment. It's not my footpath to the footpath Sandy Lane that goes to Edgebarrow Woods. Noticed it's being used by off-roaders. There's a barrier at the Sandhurst end, stops them getting in, but not at the Crowthorne end, and I'm not sure who we need to. I guess it's probably Wellington College, I would think, isn't it? To
Which side of the
the Sandy Lane. It goes from the Crowthorne High Street. You go down, come down Crowthorne High Street towards Sandhurst,
Yes.
and then there's the left-hand bend, and there's, you go down the footpath to the right, it splits.
Yeah.
The road goes to Sandhurst that way, down and down Sandy Lane the other way. That then joins Sandy Lane in Sandhurst. But the bit between Edgebarrow Rise and Crowthorne High Street, or is it Sandhurst Road by then? I don't know. It's wide enough for vehicles to go down. I know Wellington College use it for their own business vehicles, but it looks to me as if they've had off-roaders having a bit of fun down there and it's churning it all up, and it's
Is it to establish who owns the land and then raise it to their attention?
I guess that's it. I think it's owned by Wellington College, actually.
I think probably is,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
It is. The thing is, when you talk about off-roaders, is this electric bikes or is it
I think it's
motorbikes?
cars. Yeah, there's double tracks down there.
The Wellington College bit, owned bit, is actually fenced off.
Not that bit, it isn't. It's fenced off from at the bottom end in the Sandhurst end. There's
I didn't think they owned that bit.
It goes right the land. They own the land on both sides of it, and because the left, in fact, they got their notice up there saying keep the public rights of way. So
I'm not sure
That's
what to
Wellington
say.
College is one house, one side, and Eagle House is the other.
which is now
whatever they
Wellington
call it.
College Preparatory.
Yeah,
School.
but I mean, as they are both sides of that
Yeah.
imaginary line, they own it.
Wellington College maintains.
I was just checking.
on the other side, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going
I suggest
to,
you tell them.
sorry, I'm just going to interject. I don't think it's one of our footpaths anyway.
The bottom end of it, I'm sure is actually. It's a public.
I don't think
It's on
it is.
there, it's on the definitive map. I can't get the internet, and I can't identify it for it.
I'm just searching as well, just to see.
Yeah, you could dig it out.
Yeah, it's not a case of what's on the map because they're not all adopted by us.
Oh, it's on the list.
Which one is it?
Is it that one there possibly?
No.
Oh, that's
No.
Wellington.
No.
Road. Yeah, I know
Edgebarrow Woods, I think it's probably that one.
Edgebarrow Woods, that's your footpath 8.
Yeah.
Chris, do you want to borrow that? Let me have that back. Those are the footpaths.
That's yours, Janice.
I'll just check it. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, Crowthorne Road, Edgebarrow Woods, and then. Oh no, it's not. It's not.
No, because that's
Okay.
the one.
It's not.
That's
No,
the
you're quite
one
right. No,
in
it's not.
at the other end. So it's not one of our footpaths.
Maybe your footpath 9 and 10, I believe, aren't you?
I can't remember.
And Barrow Lane to Wakeling
Three.
Road and Barrow Lane, well, two pots of.
The one opposite Eagle House the one opposite Edge and Barrow car park.
And along
That's
the roadway.
three.
Yeah.
FP8 and FP2 actually got 4.
What's the fourth then?
Well, no, they're linked together. Into Woking Road
Oh,
is a
yes,
continuation.
yes,
It has 2 separate
Okay,
footpath
yeah.
numbers.
No, I think you're right,
So
it's not one of ours.
So it's not ours.
That's fine, but
Okay, it's useful then to at least have that. So it's Wellington College, I see that.
Contact them.
any other updates on the footpaths?
I have a regular walk with my secateurs in my pocket. And I execute items of vandalism at random. Don't minute that, missus.
You've just said it on live
I know.
television.
I've been witness doing it. I
Okay,
think my gardening credentials are good enough to be able to go.
okay, thank you. Agenda item 9, notice boards. I'll start from the left. Any updates? Going around? Back around?
Might be useful and to have some more of those terms and conditions ones, because they either get removed or water gets into them. I just, as I go around regularly doing the notice boards for things like, for instance, the neighbourhood plan and such like, if you let me have half a dozen
Yeah.
laminated, that would be great.
Lovely,
Incredible.
thank you.
It's a
Okay, thank
good
you for that.
suggestion.
One
Thank
of
you,
the
councillor
problems
Bossard.
we found with the Go Green posters was that, and there's no other way around it, I'm just pointing it out, but once you put a drawing pin in a laminated one, the water goes with it.
Sure.
So they've got to be renewed.
Yeah, that's
So
what I'm
that's
thinking.
you're
Yes,
actually
indeed. Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
do.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for that feedback, councillor Wilson, Mrs. Wilson. Agenda item 10, press and publicity to consider public messages and timing for release. Anybody?
Councillor Ives, you've got something you wanted to bring up here?
Sorry, what was?
Press and publicity. Press and publicity.
Go
Oh,
Green.
yes, beg your pardon, there was the bins, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With the labels that we agreed at the last meeting, to put on bins so people can notify, so people know about it. I've agreed with the EO that I will prepare a short paragraph or two to put into the Sandhurst Pride, basically saying how this works and also what the bins are for, where they are, based on basically information.
Yeah, I think we were going to include, weren't we, about people putting household
Yes,
waste
yes.
in as well, because that
Definitely.
seems to be a problem at the moment.
There was some fly tipping. Is this appropriate moment? Can I just put this in? Right, I'll shut up. I'll ask Farm about it later.
Okay, any further on press and publicity? No? Going to move on to agenda item 11, date of the next meeting, and to confirm the date, which is the 13th of March 2025. I would like to conclude this meeting to an end now. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you, Ange. Okay.